Rolling.
All right. This afternoon, and this is going to be airing on Wednesday evening, but this afternoon, I'm so happy to have my friend, Vanessa Calloway, actress, dancer, director, just so many different things, Vanessa. I'm so happy to have you joining us today. And I know that you have some other pressing stuff, so I really appreciate you taking the time to join myself, Earl, and whomever else of our co-hosts are able to join. But thank you so much for joining us.
Earl, my pleasure. Congratulations on your podcast and your book and everything. So congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I want to start off giving people an opportunity to, if I thought about first, like I could just go ahead through a whole litany of things in terms of like your filmography and television. And I can't tell you how many times I'm like watching television or watching something, i.e. Harriet, and all of a sudden here, what? There's Vanessa. What are some of the things? I know right now you're in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta shooting my series called Saints and Sinners, our 5th season, which is really great. I mean, you never know how you're going to be blessed. When we did the first season 4 years ago, I mean, if you would have told me it would have been season 5, I would have been like, yeah, I mean, that would be great, but we'll see. But here we are, season 5. And actually, it's going to air in our 6th year because of the pandemic. We would have already filmed and been aired by now, but we just started in August. So it won't air until probably next spring, but we're doing a movie as well. We're finishing this up this week. Then we have like a small break, and then we come back and we shoot a Saints and Sinners movie for our fan base so that we could keep everything connected for them, This is a TV movie, So it'll fill in the gaps because it's like we missed a whole year of airing, basically, because of the pandemic. So but that worked in my favor. I'm like, a series and the movie, I'll take them both. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. So that's great, and I have a short film that I just directed for BET, their Women's Initiative. It's called Long Look in the Mirror, and it's about breast cancer. I'm an 11-year breast cancer survivor myself, but it's airing October 17th on BET So I'm very excited about that. Golden Brooks is my lead, and she did an outstanding job. But I'm very excited about that. And I'm relaunching my web series called In the Company of Friends, and now it's called In the Company of Friends, All Things Healthy, that I did with Susan G. Komen and the ad campaign about breast cancer awareness. So the same week that my short will be airing, I will be relaunching my web series In the Company of Friends, All Things Healthy. And it has a lot of experts, celebrities, friends, real people. We talk about everything from research, not only breast cancer, AIDS, and all kind of things. It's all things healthy. And my doctors, the doctors that actually saved my life, are on the show too. So it was great to have them on to give their expertise. So yeah, I'm staying busy.
Yeah. And my mother being a breast cancer survivor, Dr. Fredericks, the president of Howard University, was her physician. My heart, of course, goes out to breast cancer survivors. My grandmother passed away March 1st. She had breast cancer twice.
March 1st this year?
My grandmother passed away March 1st this year, yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry that during that pen. Well, it was before
but it was,
before at least you guys were able to say goodbye to her. Like
it's an interesting thing. It's a real interesting thing, Vanessa, because we had her all the way up until right before the pandemic, and then the quarantine started 2 days after the funeral. So it was all in God's hands.
But you consider yourself blessed. I lost several people, unfortunately, not to the pandemic necessarily, but just somebody who was very near and dear to my heart. He was like my brother. I think about him every day. I loved him dearly. And he died in April. He died right before Easter, and we couldn't send him off. And it was very sad not to have closure. So I'm sorry you lost your grandmother, but feel good that you guys had closure and you were able to send her off, because we still haven't been able to celebrate my friend. And it's been sad for everybody, and I lost my goddaughter. I couldn't fly in for her funeral, and she was 30, young girl. It's just been crazy. It's been crazy.
Yeah, I'm so very sorry for your losses. In April, my father's second oldest brother passed away from the virus, and
Oh,
so
wow.
trying to do the home going service. I think his children did a fantastic job. We had to do it through Zoom,
Yeah.
but I think we're all just trying to do the best we can. And so again, my condolences to you and your
Well,
losses.
I'm gonna make you laugh. Now I'm gonna make you
Hmm.
laugh because I was one of the first birthdays that got jilted. I was a little salty about that. My birthday is March 20th, and in
Oh, wow.
LA, right,
Like you
the week
celebrated the day
before.
of.
No, no, let me tell you how evil I was. My birthday was March 20, 2020, 3/20, 2020.
Ooh,
I was
ooh.
like those numbers, and it was a Friday night. Come on now, you know that says party all night long, right?
See, that's where getting in
So I
trouble
had
over.
planned 3/20/2020 Friday night. I had planned, sent out invitation, a small thing, only like going to like the neighborhood watering hole, with about 30, 40 people type of thing. But I was excited because I'm like, well, it's not a big birthday, but who can ignore the numbers 3/20/2020? That's never going to come around again. And then the week before, things started getting a little shady. And on that day, like the day before that day, is when our governor and our mayor shut it down in LA. I was salty. Then after that, everybody started having all these virtual birthday parties. I'm like, oh, nobody was doing that all weekend of my party. My birthday, that wasn't in yet. So I totally missed the whole virtual birthday drive by, honk the horns, and do the virtual toast and everybody. I missed it all. I was like, so, but I
So
didn't
now
get
I'm
on
gonna
the.
tick you off. Now I'm gonna tick you off because my
I know
birthday
that's
was March
selfish.
5th. I know, but
Okay.
listen.
Makes
So
sense.
my
So you
birthday
had
was
a party. I
March
want to hear
5th.
about it. You had a
Yeah,
party. I want to hear
that's
about it.
that's the crazy part because I'm looking at Earl. So I'm like, Earl, you didn't show up. But no, it's
Earl wish
I
he
was
had it.
totally
Now,
there.
wait a minute.
I was
Earl
at your birthday
wish he had.
party.
I'm messing with you, Earl.
Wait, but if you did, Earl, you wish
It
you
was
had shown up because you was bored since then. That would have been the last party you was at.
My car got
it
broken
probably
into that
was the
night.
last
Like I
one.
remember, I remember because my car
Oh,
got broken into that night.
Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry to be
but
selfish, but I was a little salty because my birthday, uh, and I love my birthday. That's like my favorite time of year. It's my birthday. Forget Christmas is about my birthday. So anyway, I'm
no,
looking
but
forward next year.
I'm glad you brought it up though, because I'm sure that there are a lot of people that are out there that can relate to their birthdays, and even like milestone birthdays. Like I know there have been a few people who had like 50
Oh,
years.
oh, no, are you kidding? We were supposed to be in Greece for my husband's 60th and several of our friends. We had a contingency of like 20 some people going to Greece
Mhm.
July 1st to July 14th. Obviously, we didn't go to Greece. And we had hotels paid for, tickets. I mean, we were like going to Greece. It was on like Donkey Kong. We was there. And we started having itineraries planned because you have to do that stuff in advance. And we waited and we waited and we waited and we waited because at first everybody thought, oh, might blow over. We waited as long as we could and we had to cancel. And it was several people having big birthdays this year. And I mean, we had like 20 something people. We was getting ready to get lit and party. So we'll do it next summer, hopefully, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
God
And
willing.
pandemic is gone.
God willing. Wow. Whew, I'm thinking about a few trips of mine that have been canceled, but let's kind of move on a little bit. What is it like right now for you working in the middle of this pandemic?
Actually, it's been very cool. I went back to work literally the end of June because I was I was in DC, as a matter of fact, for like about 4 days. And we had a 2-day shoot for the BET Her initiative, this woman's initiative. And they did 4 films, 4 shorts, and each short had 2 days to shoot. It was challenging. I had 18 pages to shoot in 2 days, but we got it all done and it came out really great. So I left the end of June and I got back right before the 4th of July. And when I tell you I was running to the airport, I was so happy to get on a plane and get up to go anywhere, just to get out and just get back into the world. And I felt very safe flying. I mean, I have been lucky, knock on wood. I always use my head as the wood, but I've been flying since the end of June, and I have not even had a cold since, I don't know, sometime last year. I get tested on a regular basis here in Atlanta, and I started getting tested myself when we were in LA because it's free once they got the sites up. I had to get tested to go to DC. So I've been getting tested for months now. And I thank you, Jesus, and we're gonna keep it going. All negative. I haven't even had a sniffle. And I've been on several flights. I've been down here in Atlanta for 2 months now. I'm gonna go home. I have to come back because we have to shoot the movie. And we get tested 3 times a week, and that's everybody. And then you have to be careful on your own, you know, not like going to nightclubs and stuff. But I have been out to dinner outside and even a couple of indoor restaurants. And it's been fine. I really feel fine. And I'm gonna tell you, flying right now, if you ain't flown, this would be the time. Now I'm TSA and clear, but you don't even need TSA right now because there are no lines. There are literally no lines. So I put on my stuff, I put on my gloves, I go through, you know, security. I get to the plane. Of course, I got my bag full of all the stuff I need. I spray, wipe down. You sit there, you go to sleep, you have a drink or something. You wake up, you're at your destination, get out, reverse and put your gloves back on, get your luggage, you know, spray that down. I went to New York for 2 weeks during the pandemic this summer and had a great COVID time. I had so much fun in New York. I was like, this is a great COVID vacation. You know, we had masks and stuff on, but I enjoyed my friends. I went to New York City, then I went to the Hamptons, and I had a good time. So, I mean, it's just like, it's not going to go anywhere away anytime soon. And you just got to know how to take care of yourself, be responsible and respectful to other people. I think that's important, what people are missing. You must be respectful to other people's wishes. It's not just about you. You aren't the only one on this planet. There are other people. They tell you that you have to wear shoes and shirts to go in an establishment. You can't go in there butt naked, right? That's against the law. Well, guess what? Masks are now a part of the agenda. It's the difference. You can't go with your booty shaking in place. So you can't go with your mouth flapping right now. It's the same thing. just put the damn mask on. You know, it's not that big of a deal. There's rules. Just like we all didn't want to wear a seatbelt for years. Guess what? Right. It's mandatory. Everybody got used to it. Everybody wears a seatbelt. Because guess what? Seatbelt saves lives, and so do masks. So get over and put the darn mask on. So, you know, it's been fine to me. I'm just cautious because I don't want to see. I'm grateful that God has kept me healthy. I'm very grateful that God has kept me healthy. And I don't take it for granted. And I don't take advantage of it. And I just have fun where I can, and I be responsible when I should, and just staying prayerful in prayer and believing that it's gonna surpass, it's gonna leave. This too shall pass. But I'll say this: if you come out of this the same way you went in, you missed it. You missed a huge message from God. If you come out the same way you went in, you wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you wasted it. There's a golden opportunity to even test things. You know what I mean? Like test friendships, determine like.
But you don't even have to test friendships. Your friendships were tested for you. See, that's the beauty of it. True. You didn't have to do any. Your marriage was tested.
You just looked at the report. Yeah.
You didn't have to even put up the effort to test anything. It all was naturally. Tested. So you just had the checkbox. You was crossing people out like cross them out, cross out, or checklist. You know, it did it for you. Bottom line.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Right. Exactly.
No, I get it. My question for you is, in preparing, I found out that you do a lot more directing than I knew you had done. Like, when did you make that jump? And what made you want to make that jump?
Well, I always wanted to direct, years ago. It's opportunity when it presents itself. And then, I've been in front of the camera for like 40 years almost now, So, more than you think I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. You absorb. I've had some great directors. I've been a part of some great projects You pay attention, you learn, you see it.
Awesome.
And it's not your progression, it's time. As we get older, you want to stay busy and viable and be able to make some money. So you gotta always have to think about what's the next thing. And I believe in multiple, forms of income. So yes, I can act, but when I'm not acting, I have downtime. What else can I do? That's why I'm always creating web series, and I've always done stuff like that. So it's a natural progression to me, and I don't want to give up my acting career for just directing, but I do love directing, and I look forward to doing more great projects.
No, excited.
So what's your secret, Vanessa, in terms of, I guess we've known each other for 20 years and you still look the same. What's your secret?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. There's no filters right now. Although I wish it was, it'd make me look a little better. But no, seriously, you gotta take care of yourself. I drink lots of water. I watch my weight, I exercise, but I drink lots of water. I take good care of my skin. I don't take anything for granted that I've been blessed with. My grandmother and my mother had good skin, but guess what? If I abused it, I wouldn't have good skin. I would have bad skin. Because it's not hard to get. Just because you were born with good skin, it's not hard for you to mess it up. It's not hard for you to mess up anything in your life. Let's face it, you can mess up your whole life if you really want to, But keeping yourself together is what takes the work and dedication. So for me, I take my work seriously. So in order for me to do the best work and feel good about it, I just take care of myself. So I exercise, I drink lots of water. I do my whole regimen of the vitamins and stuff I need to do. Being a breast cancer survivor, I have to take D and B, and then I take a couple other things. And just regular maintenance of oneself. And this is what I always tell young kids when they ask me. I tell them, stay ready to be ready. What does that mean? Well, if you don't like the way you look on a Friday, it's not going to magically change by Monday. So what does that mean? If you feel like you need to get your teeth fixed or take better care of your skin, or the 10 pounds that you want to lose. I just lost 10 pounds that I've been trying to lose forever. Whatever it is you don't like about yourself, or not that you don't like it, because some things we don't like, some things we want to improve, then do it. Because when that opportunity presents itself, whatever opportunity it is for you, or just you feeling good about who you are, it's not going to happen overnight. So if you do it, when opportunity presents itself, you're ready already. You don't have to go get ready. So stay ready to be ready. And I give that advice, and I try to live by that advice.
So, your staying power in terms of your craft, in terms of acting, is just remarkable. What do you see right now, or what is your perspective now as we look at the divisions that are going on in the country? Are they impacting Hollywood at all, as well as the possibility that the next vice president of the United States could be a woman of color and be in line to become the 47th president? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you asked a lot of questions, and there's a lot of thoughts, but I'll say
take your time with this one, because I actually want all of it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of questions, and I'm gonna try to remember all the points you made, but I'll start with this. Hollywood actually lucked up because of this pandemic. Because of the pandemic, and then we had the social, unjust. They lucked up because now they got time to regroup, reform, recreate, re-examine. Because my industry has been a big part of the problem that we've had all these years. They've been a big part. And now they see that they've been a big part. When everything broke out because of Mr. Foreman, George Floyd, when everything broke out with Mr. Floyd, everybody was coming like, oh my God, I see, oh, I'm so sorry. The white people, oh, wow, we get it. So I'm like, okay, Hollywood, do you get it now that you fed into the stereotypes, that you were a huge part of the problem, all the whiteouts or the blackouts, for the Academy Awards, the television, the Emmys, the one black friend and everything. Do you see now that how multicultural the world is, and people want to see themselves, and that one black friend shouldn't always have to be this particular type that you see? Because there's always a mold. There's always one that the type that they see, and whoever fits that type gets the job. That there's room for a lot of black women and men to star in multiple projects. People always say, well, when do you think the industry is going to change? And I always say, when we look at a category, number one, I think they should change it from 5 to 7. I think that's fair because the times has changed and there's more content out of there. So making people fight for 5 slots, I don't know that that's right. I think that it should be 7. But when I see 2 white men and the other 5 are 3 are black and 2 is whatever, only 2 white men as opposed to 1 black man and everybody else is white, that's when I'm gonna know it's changed. When we see that the makeup of the nominees in all these categories, excuse me, have changed. And when we look at TV shows, and they're trying to do that. But like even, what was that show about the president in Kerry Washington show? Scandal.
Oh, Scandal.
I mean, that show, it was supposed to be like kind of a black show, kind of, sort of. They had a black lead character and everybody else was white. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why y'all think we always gotta have white folks to survive in our world? But we can always watch white shows and it's okay. You know, it's okay to watch predominantly white shows and that's fine. But if we, you know, so it's getting better, but it has a long way to go. I think the climate of the world right now, the country, I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not taking anything for granted. It was in my Bible study yesterday. I said, forgive me for sounding like I'm in the 7th grade, but that's what it feels like. It's unfair. This shit is just unfair what's going on with the Supreme Court, with all these lies, with everything. It's just unfair. But you feel hopeless, and I see why people don't vote. Now, I have given money to Kamala and to Biden. I've tapped out. I'm a little irritated with them because I don't think they're fighting hard enough, and I'm not seeing her do nothing. Where the hell is she? When they gonna unleash her so she could go be a bulldog and attack people? You know, what's going on with that? But I've given that. Of course I'm gonna vote. But I feel I give my people a vote because I look at what's going on now and I'm like, doesn't matter. They're gonna do what they wanna do anyway. And it's like the bad people just keep getting awarded and rewarded for bad behavior when people are trying to do the right things, you know, and everybody's crooked in a way or two, but when you look at it, it's just so blatant and just so, like the whole tax thing that came out, you just go like, you know what? And the fact that there's a lot of black people, I really can't understand that are voting for this fool, that they justify him. I'm like, he ain't even uttered the words let's take Black Lives Matter out of it, because maybe he don't want to say the words because he thinks they're some type of, you know, some type of racist group or whatever he thinks about it. Let's take that out. He ain't even said that he thinks the lives of black people are as important. Rephrase it, find something, but he ain't even said what he thinks about the lives of black people and where black people are in this country, how we've been treated in our history. He don't think there's no systemic racism. And I'm like, any black person in America, how can you support that? I mean, let's take the fact that, I think he's gonna do better for my money. Okay, I can get that. But at some point, when does character trump money? and no pun intended, but when does it trump the other things? When does character trump? So I'm just like, I'm just praying. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what's gonna happen, and I can't wait for it to be over because I'm just really getting sick of it. I have to stop. I'll go through a period now where I'll watch some news, and then for a couple of days I won't because I can't. I just get so enraged that it affects my sleep, my thinking process during the day. So I just have to stop for a while. Just like I can't watch the news right now. I just can't. And then I'll go back and try to catch up on seeing what I missed. Because it's just, you know, I don't, did I answer all the questions? You had like 5 in one.
No, that was good.
No, you pivoted right in the middle of both. That was good. That's good. I did have one question, Tiba, that I wanted to throw in just to follow up on the Kamala. What would you like to see them do? And I say that because I hear both sides of it. Like just being in Washington, we get all of it. I see them so often to the point where I can actually turn the television off feeling like I'm seeing enough. But if that's not getting broadcast outside of the Beltway, that's a problem. And
that's my question too. Now, and she's my Sora, by the way. Love her, knew her before that. But that's my question too. Baby, I'm not seeing what she's doing because we are in a pandemic and nobody is like holding, we're not seeing these big rallies on TV like we would be seeing around this time. I'm like, where is she? I ain't seen her on nothing. And I watch the news pretty regularly, but it's like, what is she doing? Or are they not just putting it on the news and it's just on the computer? I don't know.
Yes, but it's a super fair complaint considering we didn't see enough of Hillary in 2016. She didn't go to Michigan. Like, they're documented mistakes that they made. Now, granted, there was no pandemic then, so I really don't know what the excuse was. But at this point, there is one. Everybody's got to kind of campaign inside a bubble. They don't want to endanger their followers. Worst case, it's somebody who in 2 weeks isn't able to vote for you. So you're trying to keep everyone healthy. But I don't.
Well, we know one vote Trump ain't getting. He ain't getting Herman Cain's vote. We know one vote he ain't getting. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't want to be a record laughing at that one, but yeah, you're right.
No, I'm just saying. But to your point.
I don't want to laugh at man. And my condolences to his family. But
absolutely,
the fact that he was such an ass,
my point.
Such an ass about what he was saying.
It's like you love that fool. You love that fool so much you died for him. Literally.
You know, that's a boss. Is we sick? No, you sick, Herman.
You died for him. Literally.
That's pretty much how that went.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean. But my reason for asking is because, again, it's not the first time I've heard the complaint, but where is she? What is she doing? And I don't make any surprise. This isn't a surprise, but I like working politically around strategy. What do voters want to see? What do endorsers want to see? You're a soror. If you could, you would do more to help. But I'm sure you're not getting that email because the campaign's not getting to you, or it's not being reached out through the AKAs. I don't know what it is, but it's not the first time I've heard that complaint, and I'd like to find a way to help.
Well, I'll say this: I've been my girlfriend, my best friend Star Jones, has been working with her campaign, so I have been to a couple of the virtual meetings and stuff, which is good. But I'm the choir. Choir.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've already tapped out my money. I've been to a few of the town hall. It's nice. And, you know, there's beautiful women in all the little pages when you Zoom. That's fabulous. I want to see something on TV. And I'm like this. They got to meet him at his, I'm sorry, and we got to be careful, but they got to meet him at his game. They got to do some personal appearances. Do them safely, but they got to get out there and get in some arenas, some parking lots.
Parking lot would be a good look.
Something.
That'd be a good look.
I don't know. They got to get out there and do some campaigning personally. And I want to see that on TV, and I'm not seeing it. So, I mean, you don't need to keep inviting me to the Zoom of fundraisers. A, I ain't got no more money to give. But B, I'm going to vote for them. I get it. I'm not the one you need to court.
That's a scary
thing.
Real
talk. That's real. I mean, that is real talk. And I'm glad you say that, because I'm sure that there are a lot of our people out there who agree with you and say the same thing. My issue with the Democratic Party is that they have a history of, when they have everything right there, they have a history of running not to lose as opposed to playing to win the game. And, you know, just in terms of what we just saw yesterday with the president and in fact, I don't even like to call him the president or by his name. He is the apprentice to me. He is literally an apprentice who has totally fucked up this country. But the thing is that the Democrats, in my opinion, are playing this not to lose. I'm going to give them one more week, and that is this week, because the debate is this week. But after that, then I think we all have to be taking our gloves off, and we just have to say, we're in this on our own, and we've got to figure out how to do this. And it's not just about the president. It's also about these down ballot races, because you mentioned George Floyd. We've got to figure out how we're going to get people out to vote, because your mayors appoint the chief of police. The governors appoint judges. And so the attention can't continue to just be focused on who's the president. It has to be focused on who are our elected officials in the states. And the Democrats have to figure out how to win back the Senate, because if he should win re-election, the Senate is going to have to be the one that handcuffs him and keeps him in check.
Yeah, because as we see everybody else, it's milly-nilly. They just, I don't know what happened to them. And I love it when they keep replaying all the video 4 years ago when everybody was talking about him like calling him everything but a child of God. Now they all lining up to kiss the booty, in the ring. So it's like, what happened to y'all? They lost, excuse me, guys, they lost all their balls. I don't know. It's like, they lost all their balls. It's like, what happened? But we know why, because they want to keep their base happy. They're trying to make sure that they win theirs, So it's just like the lie. I just can't take it. I just can't. The two-facedness, the lies, it's just killing me. And I see why people don't vote, unfortunately, because you go like, what the hell? Does it really matter?
One of the things that I noticed, and I just dropped this in, and I'll see how you feel about this as well. I feel like I don't know how many undecided people there are in this particular point in American history. So I don't know if that has something to do with why there isn't a lot of campaigning going on both sides. I will say that North Carolina, I've seen a lot of pro-Trump signs. I've seen my first pro-Trump television commercial. Obviously, they're not doing the ad buys in DC where we live at TiVo, but if you actually get a chance to see one of those, that's hilarious. The number of, they make it a point to put somebody Black or African at the end.
I've seen pro-Trump down here in Georgia, honey, with Black people on the radio.
Yeah,
I like President Trump. He's the what for our country. I'm like, if you don't turn that shit off, I'm gonna scream.
It's troubling. But I also recognize that his base doesn't care how logical or factual
they
the
don't
complaints
care.
are. It's like they're cheering for the Dukes of Hazzard. They just want to watch the General League get away, or the orange car get away from the law. That's pretty much all they're cheering for constantly. And they
don't care about this taxes. It doesn't matter. He paid $750. He paid more than all them poor, struggling people in Appalachia and everywhere. All his supporters. He paid more. They pay more than him, but they're not going to care about that. They're not going to care about that. And if he wins, it's just going to get worse. We're going to end up with, I really think we'll end up with a civil war of sorts in this country against white and Black people, brown people, and white people.
And for the first time, we're not going to have so many of
economic class, but it's going to be some type of civil war. It's going to be economic, or it's going to be a couple. It's going to be race over here, depending on what state you in. It's going to be some of it's going to be race, some of it's going to be economic. But I really believe we're headed for a civil war if that fool stays in, because he doesn't care, and he tells you he doesn't care, and people don't care that he don't care. And I'm like, what happened to us? When did everybody don't care anymore? We just let a lot. What happened to us?
I think social media. I think the fact that you can only communicate, it's possible for you to only communicate with people who agree with you. There isn't that line of decency that I feel like people used to tend that like a garden. We used to just, don't want to cross this line in public. You didn't talk about politics at a bar or religion. Like there was just basic rules that our parents taught us that our kids don't care about. And
our kids, don't use our kids. Grown ass people like me and you. What are you talking about?
But people don't care.
People older than us.
But yeah, I think people don't care. But I think now we've got this nonstop discommunication with just people who agree with you. And then when you hear something that you're not used to hearing, it actually jars you emotionally to hear it. I heard a pro-Trump television ad the other day and thought to myself, what the hell? But Black people, they believe in it. I think they're getting a paycheck, but they believe in it.
I was wondering about that. Well, he's going after Black men. I don't know how that's working out for him, but that's when he was targeting Black men.
And I think that a part of that, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Hillary lost in 2016 because of misogyny. Let's just, and we're going to see the same thing, unfortunately, with Kamala being on the ticket. And that's why we've got to be figuring out how to get as many people it is that we can to vote, to make sure that we call our family, call our friends, make sure they're going to vote. Just in terms of this conversation, though, I will say a lot of this, a lot of people keep saying social media, but I'm going to go a little bit further. Reality television changed the landscape of this big time. And then you had somebody who was a reality television star who's bankrupted businesses, failed to pay contractors, abused women, who became the star of a reality show called The Apprentice, and got famous for saying 2 words: "You're fired." And I'd like to be able to say those 2 words on November 4th, 2020, or whenever the.
Oh my God! I pray we say those 2. You have no idea. You know, and I'm
But
gonna be honest, I've had to pray to God to help me because I think I'm a nice person, and I never wish any harm on anybody because I don't want it to come back on me or mine. And I've had to pray because I've had some horrible thoughts about him and some of them Republicans. I'm serious. I've had some horrible thoughts. Would you care for me
I'm
to
right there
share
with
one
you.
of them with you?
sure,
Hey, hey,
This
we have
is our
time. I
show.
just don't want to
So,
take up too much of your time. But
oh, I'm
sure.
fine. I'm fine. I told you at the time once I start, but this has been it's a bad joke. So don't nobody tweet you and tweet me. It's a bad joke. I'm gonna say it. But we said there got to be some brother or some little white boy out there who got so many cases against them that it don't matter because they gonna do some time anyway, right? And we like, y'all need to take one for the team. Go ahead. You gonna make it. You gonna make history. You'll be in all the history books, and we all gonna have a GoFundMe and put stuff on your books.
tell me how many pages you need that script to be. I'll write it by Sunday.
It's a bad joke, but that's been one of our running jokes in my
Good
circle.
short, though.
It's like somebody take one for the team. We gonna take care of your family. We gonna put some money on your books because some of y'all going to jail anyway. You got some outstanding. Once they catch you for some of them crimes and they all add up, you gone for the rest of your life anyway. Now, wouldn't you like to be put in history books? Bad joke. I'm sorry, guys.
No, I hear what you're saying. No, but I hear what you're saying, and it's unfortunate that we are living in a time when civil discourse, empathy, those are things that are considered to be the exception and not the rule.
Right, and that I would even have to have a bad joke like that because
right,
it's not nice to wish harm on anybody. But sometimes you just look at them and you just go like, if something happened, I wouldn't be sad. I ain't gonna do it, but God help us.
Worth revisiting if there's a re-election. I think in the meantime, I'd rather just see him go to prison after losing. But
That would be
Yeah.
some sweet revenge
But,
for his tax
you know.
fraud.
But then when I look at something like Breonna Taylor and I look at how that decision came down, I have to say to my friends out there that was an orchestrated political move. It was made at the time that it was to get us riled up. And I hope that it just excites us. And when I say excites us or moves us, it may be the better word, moves and energizes us to recognize that we have got to vote these people out of office. We've got to ditch Mitch. We've got to get rid of Ted Cruz, people like Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham. And yes, they are going to fight us every tooth, nail, everything. But think about it like this. God is testing us like God tested those who came before us. And hope always trumps fear. And good always wins over with evil. But you can't win if you're not ready to fight.
Does good always win over on evil? Does it always?
It does.
Eventually.
It doesn't always look. It doesn't
Eventually.
always look the way we want it to. Nobody wanted to see Dr. King be assassinated, but it was the work that he and many others did that made our lives a lot easier. Unfortunately, there are things that happen. I tell you what I think is the biggest travesty of all of this. We fight for the power. We had it for 8 years in a sense. We had it for 2008 to 2010, till the midterm elections came. And there's a young man, a rapper out, Yellow Pain, who has done a brilliant rap video about we went in 2008 to vote, but we didn't go back again in 2010 to give Obama what he needed.
Oh, I saw that. Right. I posted that one. It's brilliant. Yes.
And so the problem, I think, is that we think that we can vote, wipe our hands, go home, and everything's going to be okay. If you want to get the powers like playing King of the Hill or King of the Mountain, you get on the mountain and then you have to fight everybody else who's targeting and trying to knock you off of that mountain. And then you've got to figure out how you're going to get other people around you who are going to keep fighting for you. That's what power is about. And the work I know that we're doing with party politics now, it's not just about us voting. It's about what are we going to do after we vote? Because this feeling that we've had during this pandemic, this feeling that we saw in terms of with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor or Tamir Rice and Trayvon Martin, and we can go on and on and on with a long list of names. It's not going to change if we don't vote. And once we vote, we have to stay engaged and make sure that those people that we vote for do the things as they promised. And if they don't, be ready to take them out and put somebody else there that will.
And that's another point that people need to know. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been saying this is like, okay, so whatever issues you may have with Biden and Harris, I don't know. Some people have found issues with them. And with, Masoro's, her record on justice. Okay. I bet if you talk to her about whatever your concerns were, she would have an explanation for it, because I do love all my people, but some of the people probably deserve to be in jail, because you do wrong. That's just what happens. But whatever, it's like, let's get them in office and then hold their feet to the fire, because anything they're going to do is going to be a whole lot better than we're doing now, So let's get them in office, and then we can challenge them and hold their feet to the fire to do whatever it is. People who were a little skittish, who thought that maybe they didn't want to, okay. It's something you didn't like, it should be addressed. Most def. We should all address issues that we were concerned about and we need explanation about. But let's get them in, get this fool out, just based on the fact that what he's doing to what he has done, not doing, continues to do, but has already done to our country. It's just, I ain't never seen nothing like it in my life. And all I keep saying, if Obama had done this, if Obama had did a pinch of what this fool did, oh, he'd be the first one on the news talking about impeachment, this, that, or the other. The tax, if he had just
He
done
complained about
a
his taxes.
pinch.
He complained about Barack only paying 20% in taxes in 2012. I'm sitting there going, did you know you weren't paying taxes yourself when
He
you
ain't never
posted
paid them.
that?
If they went back and got all his taxes from years, him and his daddy been scamming the government for years.
I
I'll bet
don't
you a
think he's
quote
made
on
any
that
money
one.
since ever. I don't think he's made a dime of his own money.
I'm just saying, he's found a way not to pay no taxes for years. I'll bet you a quarter on that. Okay. So it's like, I said, if Obama would have done a pinch of the stuff this fool has done and said, what the Supreme Court is just that's the biggest,
Right.
that's the biggest example right now. He would have been trashed all kind of ways.
Well,
Right.
I also think that, if it comes back to it, and let's just say if he's not reelected and he goes to jail or he's brought up on charges, I think that the
He'll get out
Democrats.
of jail. But he'll get out of jail.
I agree.
He probably should go to jail, but he'll get out of it.
But we've got to figure
They're not going to
out.
send a former president to jail. They're not.
We've got to
even if he
figure out,
deserves it.
I still think we've got to figure out from our vantage point how we don't let our foot off the pedal. It's just like if you're in a if you're in a heavyweight boxing match, I think about Ali when I say this, and you've got you're about to knock out your victim. You don't let up off of them. You keep punching until you knock them out, until the fight is over. And so we've got to finish the fight. We've got to march to the polls. We've got to do everything that's within our power. And then if that doesn't work, I'm sure we will figure out something else. But first off, we got to be strategic and be able to figure out how to do this piece.
And not give up.
Never give up. Never give up. So you got any upcoming? I know you talked about some of the things that you've been working on. Any upcoming projects? I know that is it Coming to America supposed to be released in December?
Well, it was. I have no idea where that stands now. I did a cameo, obviously, as the princess, that I was in the original movie. So I just did a cameo. But if it were my movie, I'd hold it. But it was supposed to come out Christmas, but I hope it's not coming out Christmas because it warrants a big theater, a big theater release. And I don't know where all that's going to stand by December. So I really don't know. I don't know if Paramount is going to release it, if they're going to hold it. I would hold it if I were them, but I don't know. Okay.
You've given us so much, so very much to go on. And I think, I don't even think, Vanessa, I know that a lot of what you said are the sentiments of millions of people. I mean, millions of people. And so I'm appreciative that you gave us some time to do this today. Like I said, I'm always happy to see you when I'm happy to be watching something and then you pop up on the screen. But the work that you have done,
thank you, Jesus.
The work that you've done, and your body of work, it speaks for itself. I'm just appreciative of one, being able to call you a friend, two, that you have trailblazed for so many other actors in Hollywood, and you're just a testament to just do the work. And I'm appreciative of all the work that I've seen you do, and all the work that's still to come. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, it's my pleasure, and a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Earl. Talking with you.
Earl was gentle on you today. Earl's our resident bulldog.
Why was you gentle on me?
I'm messing with him. He knows.
I agree with everything. But my biggest question was, what does it look like to see more action? I think you've given me some thought. And we do have people who work for the campaign who watch the show. So when I tell you it's not going to get lost by you saying it here, it's going to be heard, and I appreciate it.
I mean, you know what? And I know, and I love Michelle Obama, but it ain't that go higher. This ain't the go higher message.
No.
This ain't the time for that. And,
No.
and that's the problem with the Democrats. We can't be, so nice all the darn time. We got to get low and dirty with him. We got to roll in the mud with him. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Desperate times call for desperate message.
Which is why I think Joe Biden's an ideal candidate to kind of out old white man him in a way, but
right, old white man him. I love that. Old white man him. I love that one. Right. That's exactly what he has to do.
It's almost one of those years where you're like, okay, no tricks, nothing interesting.
Right.
Don't try to remake the wheel. This is obviously what America is trying to act like they see as normalization. Let's go ahead.
I say let's do like him. Let's attack and apologize later. How about that one?
I agree with you on that, because one of the things that I'm cautious about with the Democrats and his people preparing him for the debates. My thing is, take the gloves off and let Joe be Joe. Just let him be Joe, because that's what Trump needs. Somebody who's
I hope he tears him a new booty hole tomorrow night, or whenever this airs. It might have already
It's tomorrow
happened.
night. No, it's tomorrow night.
Okay,
It'll be last night for the people we air it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope he tears him a new booty hole. And I'm gonna be on the set, so it's gonna be, I hope I'm done by that time. But he gotta rip him to shreds. He got to.
Yes. He has to.
He got to.
Without question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he can, just based on him telling the truth. Because everything Trump is gonna say is gonna be a lie.
Well, Atiba knows that for about a year, I've been saying my dream moment, even before Joe Biden was in the race, my dream scenario was Joe Biden was the only person who I knew in Washington who, when Trump gets on stage during a debate and at some point pretends, you know what, I think you're being a little rude. If we weren't on stage, I think you do the whole Jersey thing. If we weren't on stage in front of these people, we might have to man on man this. And I can see Joe Biden saying, I'm going to take my shirt and tie off and kick your ass in front of this camera. Like, in that moment, I can see Joe saying it. I can see it playing out. I can see Trump having nothing else to say. He can out cowboy him. I think so. But we just have to see
I'm praying he does. I'm praying he does.
Well, at least Joe can still run. I don't know what Trump can do.
And Kamala gotta rip one in Pence.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's smarter than him, and she speaks better than him. She a black woman, so you know how we do.
Do you think we're gonna get a vice president debate? Like,
it's
October 2nd, I think. I have to go back and check.
I know it's October.
I know.
It's gonna be a few days.
I'm gonna check it right now.
Yeah,
but I know we have one.
We should have more than one presidential one. And I think they're going to get away with only having one this time around. And then, which made me wonder whether or not they're going to try to get away without a vice presidential one at all.
You know what? I'll say this to you. If Trump don't feel like he did good, it ain't going to be just one. Because he ain't going to go down like that.
Well,
if he clearly lost, they're not going to be. They'll find a reason that they got to have another one.
That's a great point.
There's three presidential debates that are scheduled. And the vice president's debate is next Wednesday, October 7th.
Okay. There's two more presidential ones? Okay.
After this one.
Don't we vote in like 3 weeks? What is this? 3 or 4 weeks?
Well, some people have already voted, thank God.
They could do this like the NBA finals, like every other night there's another one.
Best 5 out of 7.
Yeah, they've already been voting. So the other two presidential debates.
LeBron and Joe Biden.
The other two presidential debates are October 15th and then October 22nd.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Vanessa, before we go, are you a basketball fan?
I mean, somewhat sometimes, depending on. I like the playoffs. I'm not like year round. They just play too many games for me year round. I ain't gonna lie. I
Go
just can't.
Lakers. Go
I can't.
Lakers.
I'm
But
taking
I like
Go
Lakers.
the Lakers.
Lakers.
But I love King James because he's my
LeBron.
homeboy from Ohio. King James, baby. He's called King
Fair
James.
enough.
Give
Fair
him
enough.
his
I
name.
And
just,
I gotta say this. I'm gonna say this
That's my
about
boy because you
LeBron.
know
I
he's
don't know.
sleeping with my boy.
I don't
respect,
think you
respect.
can not like LeBron considering all the stuff that he is unlike any of the other
He
basketball
is.
icons we've seen.
And I have a personal LeBron story, so I loved him even more. I was honored years ago, I forget how long ago, but he was part of the Cleveland Cavaliers at the time, and it was wintertime. It was a Black History Month, and they flew me in to bring me on the court for the Clevelander who did good type of thing where you wave and they give you a big jersey that's framed. And they asked me, they said, well, what number do you want? So because I just said, I was thinking about my oldest daughter, Ashley, who was born September 13th. So I said, well, give me 13. And I was going to give her the jersey in the frame. So then I said, your daughter. And I called the guy back. I said, can I buy one? You don't have to pay for it. But can I get 23 because that's my other daughter's birthday? Well, I didn't know that was LeBron James's number, right? But his number was 23. So they give me the 23 jersey. And when everybody's like, oh my God, that's LeBron James number. And of course, she loved him. I went through some friends who went to school with me at Ohio University who knew him. And I said, do you think I'm going to be at the game? You think he could sign it? And he normally doesn't sign the jerseys. He was literally on his way out. It was All-Star weekend. He was leaving to get on the plane to go to All-Star. He stopped, talked to me, signed the jersey for my daughter, and kept it moving. So I became an even bigger fan after that.
All right. I love it.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Well, Vanessa, thank you so much for coming. I would love to have you come back because I know our other co-hosts are going to be
only if we
really
win.
jealous when they see this.
Only if we win. If we don't win, I'm gonna be too salty.
I got to read the meeting in secret to find out how we're going to react.
I don't know. I'm gonna be looking for a boat, trying to get out of here.
I'm gonna be too salty. You got to be positive on these shows. You got to give people some sense of hope. You'll have to give me a minute. I'm gonna be salty. I might not be a good guest right after the election if we don't win.
I hear you. Well, Vanessa, thank you very, very much for joining us. This is great. This has been a great conversation. Earl, I don't know if you have any parting words you want to say.
Thank you, as always. Thank you for having me on, but no, this is huge. This is a treat.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, gentlemen. Be safe.
Thank you.
And everybody out there, vote, please.
Please.
Please vote.
Boo,
please
vote.
Everybody vote. Don't boo, vote.
Don't boo, vote. All right.
All right, you guys.
Bye, lady.
Bye, Vanessa. You good?
And we've